When it comes to retirement, the most important question of all is, do I have enough? Unfortunately, that's not a simple yes or no question. There's a lot of different variables that go into retirement. Your age, how much you have saved currently, how much you plan to continue saving before retirement, how much you plan to spend in retirement, and that's not even to say things like Social Security, Medicare, when you plan to take those. So in today's video, I wanted to share an example of a couple clients that we started working with recently that came to us with that very question. They said, Jake, I'm 60 years old, I'm getting closer to retirement. Do I have enough saved to retire next year? So we'll walk you through an example that I think applies to a lot of people out there, and hopefully this helps you out in making your decision on when to retire. All right, so here we have our couple, David and Brad. Again, they came to us recently wondering if they could retire based on what they have saved so far. They have a total of $1.2 million saved up between all their accounts, not including their primary residence. So just a breakdown of what they have, David has his 401k through his current job, just over $500,000 there. Also has a Roth IRA that he's been contributing to, $137,000. And then Brad over here has his 401k through his employer, just over $300,000. And then he has a rollover IRA from a previous job's 401k that he rolled into an IRA with about $87,000. And then these are their shared accounts. They have a savings account at the bank with just under $50,000, and then a joint investment account with $122,000. And again, their primary residence. They've been lucky enough to pay off their home at this point in their life, so no mortgage. There's usually some credit cards and other insurance policies that we'll look at here with clients, but just to simplify it, these are kind of the main investment accounts that they're working with here. So a little bit of more detail about them first before we go into their retirement picture. So David is currently age 62. His partner Brad is 60. And so they're right up on that retirement age, seeing if it's a feasible time to retire or if they need to wait a few more years. David is currently bringing in $130,000 per year. He's a software engineer. Brad is an HR manager earning about $85,000. Social Security income will be estimated here based on their current income and their earnings history and a couple other factors like inflation adjustments for their salary. But their current plan is to draw Social Security at age 62. They just want to take it as soon as possible. They think that, tomorrow's not promised. Why would I wait on my Social Security? So that's their current plan. We'll talk about in a minute whether or not that's going to be the best option for them. Some of their current goals, again, they want to retire next year or see if that's possible. So their current retirement ages are going to be 63 and 61. In retirement, they want to spend about $7,000 per month. So this does not include things like their property taxes, homeowners insurance, anything like that. Again, they don't have their mortgage anymore, so nothing to worry about there. But this is purely discretionary spending that they want to have in retirement. And then separated out is things like medical costs that we have estimated here, as well as long-term care for the last few years of their lives. And then separately, they want to see if they can afford a separate budget just for vacations in retirement. So we have this at 0 right now, but we'll incorporate that into their plan to see how much would make sense based on other factors later on. So they're currently saving into their 401k plans. David is contributing 10%, and his employer matches up to 4% here. Brad is putting in 15% into his Roth 401k, and his employer matches up to 5%. So they also put a little bit of money in their savings account each year, $300 a month or $3,600 per year. So again, they've done great at saving over the course of their careers, and now it's time to see if they can, kind of spend that money for their retirement. So these are their current monthly expenses, $8,000 per month, and this is after taxes. So based on their current income that we have inputted into our software here, it will calculate their taxes, their federal and state taxes automatically. They live in Florida, so no state tax, but this again is what they want to spend after tax, or this is what they're currently spending after tax, and then this would be what they want to spend in retirement after tax. So the first place I always like to start when reviewing any new client's information is their cash flow. So we want to make sure everything's accurate here. So we have David and Brad's salary, and then again, this is as of today. Their salaries when they came to us were $215,000 total. So again, that's David's $130 and Brad's $85 or so. And then their expenses, which does not include taxes, that's separated out here, but that's going to be their living expenses, property taxes, homeowners insurance, anything that's ongoing. Their planned saving is going to be their 401ks and their bank accounts that they have set up. And then anything that's unaccounted for, we're just going to assume is spent elsewhere. There is a way to assume that it's saved into another account, but we feel that this is a more conservative approach because oftentimes it's easy to underestimate how much you do spend both now and in retirement. But this is where we would kind of start and hone in on, where is this extra money going? Are you really underestimating your expenses, or is there another account that there's money going to that you had set up and forgotten about? So we would start to get this as close to zero as possible, either by spending more or fixing one of the inflows here. But it's a good way to visualize where the money's coming in and where it's going. And then the second step we would do is kind of fast forward into retirement. So that initial goal of David and Brad retiring next year would really give us a visual of what sort of shortfall that we need to fill, what kind of gap we need to fill from their portfolio. So as you can see, David's Social Security would kick in first based on their current plan of him drawing it at age 62. And then after that, Brad would retire and also start drawing his, so it increases a little bit the following year. But basically we can see that there's quite a gap here that we need to fill from their portfolio. And then from there, we'll see just about how much as a percentage of their total balances that's going to be each year to see if it's really feasible to spend that amount long term or if we need to make some adjustments. All right, so again, based on their current goals, they want to retire next year. So this is where we can really see what their withdrawal rate will need to be from their portfolio to supplement their living expenses or supplement their Social Security income, I should say. So as you can see, it starts around 5.8%, dips a little bit once Brad starts taking his Social Security, but over time, this basically is consistently over 5%, 6%. As you can see, it keeps on increasing. So anytime this number is consistently over about 4%, we start to have some concerns on the likelihood of this plan working long term. So as you can see, as they get to the end of their lives, these red bars represent not having any money left. So this does plan for them to live until age 92. But obviously with the spending rate that they would have with the current numbers, it does show them likely running out towards the end of their life, which nobody wants. So from here, what we would do is take a look at their, this is called a retirement analysis or Monte Carlo analysis. So what this is saying is based on their current income, their current retirement ages that they want to retire at, the current spending, portfolio balance, investment allocations, it's projecting out 1,000 different scenarios based on historical market returns. So basically what this is saying is in only 17% of those scenarios does this money last the rest of their lives based on their current spending goals and things like that. So as you can see, not a good number that you want to see here, but as we start to make some changes, we can see how small little changes can make a big effect on their retirement probability of success here. So the first thing we said to David and Brad was, are you open to retiring a little bit later? They don't have to retire next year. They're not sick of their jobs. They're not burnt out. They're just wondering where they can start. We said to David and Brad, if one of you at least waits until your full retirement age to get the most out of your Social Security benefit, that's probably going to help your chances long term. So, we changed David's retirement age to 67. Brad would be 65 at that point, so they would just want to retire at the same time. Another thing that came up was the Social Security claiming strategy. So current strategy is to claim at age 62. If we want them both to wait until full retirement age to start pulling that Social Security income, that would help their, that would increase their benefit and help their long-term likelihood of, this plan working out as well. So as we begin to change some of these things here, you can see that it'll drastically increase their probability of success number, which again is not the number that we live and die by, but it does give us some sort of idea of how this will work out long term based on what the markets do, what inflation does, and things like that. So just those two little changes so far makes a profound difference. One other thing that we said to David and Brad, or they actually said to us, was, with long-term care, we do want to budget for that, but at the end of the day, if one of us becomes in need of care, the other one will take care of them at home first. We're not going to, go to a nursing home and visit each other. So Brad said, look, David, you're the older one. If you happen to get sick first, I'm going to take care of you at home. That's what we do for our loved ones. So If we take away David's long-term care costs, that's also going to have an effect on their number here. And another thing is that in retirement, this is an estimated spending that they want to have, but the truth is you don't always have a consistent or the same spending amounts every year in retirement. So we did talk to them about what we call the retirement spending smile. And basically what that says is in the first few years of retirement, you typically spend more than your long-term average. You're excited, you want to do more traveling, more dining out, what have you. So it starts higher, then it tends to dip. Again, studies have shown this as well. So retirement spending tends to dip after a few years into retirement, where you settle down and have more of a daily schedule. So at the end of retirement, when medical costs pick up, those costs will increase again. Hence the smile. If you look at it on a chart, it looks like a smile. So if we implement that as a spending strategy for them, we'll be able to see that it does help their plan as well. So again, a couple things that we're tweaking here, and all of a sudden, we're right at 87% on the retirement analysis instead of 17. So again, the point of this is just to show you, starting out, there's a few small changes you can make to have a profound effect on your retirement success long term. The fun part of this is that we can now go to David and Brad and say, look, just with these few small changes, if you are okay working until 67, 65, again, the Social Security claiming strategy we changed this retirement spending a little bit. We can go back to them and talk about that travel goal that they had. So their vacation goal here, if we let's say they want to go on a lavish vacation once a year for the first few years of retirement. We can give them $10,000 each year to spend and see if that really has a major effect on their long-term success of the plan. As you can see, not a huge effect. So that's the nice part of making these small changes, is that we as the advisors can go back to them and say, look, you guys deserve to spend your money. You don't want to just hoard it if you don't have to. So you can really afford to go on that vacation for the first couple of years of retirement, spend $10,000. It's a nice vacation even these days. So we can really give them that permission to spend that money where they want to. And this is not a one-time thing. We talk to them each year and reassess what their goals and priorities are. But this is really a nice way to visualize what the likelihood is of you being able to retire at your given age. So again, I hope this was helpful. This is where we kind of start with all clients to see, if their numbers are making sense on retirement, if they need to wait a little bit longer. We have had other situations where we tell them that they can retire today and they have more than enough. So that's always nice as well. But I thought this would be good to show kind of a real world example of how we work through retirement scenarios with clients and really find a middle ground and make sure that they're living their best lives in retirement. So let me know if you have any questions on this. We do this as a kind of a free analysis for clients up front to see if they want to work with us or not. So we don't charge anything for this initially. It's just the implementation of the ongoing plan. So again, hope that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. So as you can see, with just a few small tweaks, we can really start to come to a middle ground when it comes to your retirement. Not always does it make sense to retire right away, but it is a good conversation starter, and it helps us start to form recommendations for clients when it comes to what your priorities are and what your goals are. A couple assumptions that this example made that I just wanted to cover. It does assume that inflation is 3% per year, which is the long-term average. And then it assumes a portfolio return of about 6.4% per year. So that's about a 65-35 stock to bond portfolio. We feel that those are pretty conservative numbers long term. So yeah, just wanted to again clarify what the assumptions were in the video there and provide that example. Hopefully it's helpful. If there's anything that you would like to see in addition to this kind of high level overview, because we didn't get into anything like tax planning, Medicare, anything like that. So this is really where it all starts. But if there's anything specific you'd like to see in one of these videos, please let me know. And as always, visit us at sparkwealthadvisors.com to learn more about what we do.